Think of a student learning outcome like the final destination of a journey. Taking a road trip without that final destination in mind can be exciting and adventurous. But it's our job as educators to ensure that students reach their final destination having mastered the content, skills, and literacies that matter the most for their future. This principle is at the heart of backwards design. First, create clear, specific learning outcomes for your students. Then design the activities, assignments, or assessments best suited for reaching those learning outcomes. Creativity, like communication or critical thinking, can be a learning outcome on its own, or it can complement or support existing learning outcomes or standards. If your curriculum or course is a prerequisite, prescription, or anchored in higher education standards, first identify where creativity will be essential to student success. Even if creativity isn't explicitly named, it can be simple to find the places where creativity best supports your standards or course. Look for these telltale signs of creativity. Do you have learning outcomes that ask students to use inquiry to use different kinds of questions? Do open-ended or complex tasks? Create novel ideas and hypotheses? Represent knowledge in new ways? Use the following verbs to help you plan for creativity. Now you have creative learning outcomes. Here are some examples of creativity in action in learning objectives. See how this language and literature objective highlights creativity? Notice how this math objective depends on student creative thinking? And this history or civics objective has creativity and the creative process at its core? If you don't already have creativity in an existing learning outcome, see how simple it can be to add those elements at the beginning of your instructional planning? Examples like these help your instructional design and your outcome because they're also SMART, or specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and timely. Taking the time to ensure you have a creative and SMART learning objective at the outset of your planning makes it easier to create aligned activities, learning experiences, and assessments to help your students reach their end goals with mastery, confidence, and creativity. Let's hear from educators that have made creativity a core part of their students' learning objectives.
Learning objectives need to be concise, and it's very important that they clearly articulate expectations. So for example, when I was teaching at USC Annenberg, I was teaching creativity and design to a lot of communication students. And when they would see a creative project, there was a lot of anxiety there. So it was very important for me to make them aware that I was looking more at intentions and their critical thinking skills, less on how great they can use Photoshop and more on what were you trying to create with Photoshop and did you see that idea through?
As a creative educator, I love to engage my students in new and different ways. I want to encourage innovation when they're solving problems. I want them to be original, to take risks. Don't be afraid to fail. Have fun in the process of learning.
What makes a good learning objective in general is something that is tied to not only strong pedagogy principles, but also has an application into the real world. Having that connection, that bridge between what we're emphasizing in academia and what's being done in the practice is so crucial.
The objective is not just to get students across a particular finish line, to get them to acquire a skill or know something specific, or to be able to perform a particular way, but actually that it be something that students can fit into their own lives and their own desires, right? That they can take it and make it their own, and that the objective itself is flexible enough for them to do so, such that any student can fulfill that learning objective, no matter of how interested they think they are in the particular topic or area. Another key aspect of learning objectives that goes along with flexibility is designing something that's within reach, something that's sort of small scale and is not, again, about sort of mastery, but is about exploration and forward motion and iteration.